The Batman. Perhaps you've heard of him. This fella's got one of the most well-known rogues galleries in all of fiction, to the point where even my mum can name most of them. But, to be fair, most of the Dark Knight's villains do deserve their notoriety. I'm not a massive Joker fan, but he is probably the world's most famous comic book villain. Catwoman popularised the idea of an enemy also being a love interest to the hero. Scarecrow is my personal favourite, he's just so cool. But sadly, they can't all be winners. For every serious threat that challenges Batman, there's gonna be a few that he punches out in one. With a career as long and exciting as the Batman's, some villains are bound to be left behind, and that's where I come in. Because I bloody love lower level supervillains. In fact, they're basically the main subject of this whole channel. And this time, the spotlight is on the Dark Knight's dumber foes. This is the underrated Batman villains. Most costume villains want to make a name for themselves in the criminal underworld, but it's the overworld that this man calls his own. It's Kite Man. Kite Man's recently had a surge in popularity, first thanks to Tom King's Batman run, then thanks to Harley Quinn's TV show that I don't want to watch, and apparently now he's got a TV show of his own. What's that about? And modern day comic books. I'll stick to the classics, thanks. And it doesn't get more classic than Batman issue 133, where Batman has a sky-high showdown with the Kite Man. Please ignore the cover, it's not at all relevant. There we go. Don't even pretend you know what's going on here. I'm right behind you, Kite Man. It's Batman, used by Chinese dragon kites. What the hell? A rooftop party gets crashed when a lunatic wearing a kite airdrops tear gas onto the wealthy guests. Oh no, it's Kite Man. Batman and Robin are actually already on their way to the scene because they were invited to that party. That's quite nice how the people of Gotham are like inviting them to parties for all they do for them. But the conniving Kite Man has already helped himself to the distressed guest Jules. That was hard to say. He even jaws the Batman. Ballsy move, but not as ballsy as Robin when the boy wonder lassos Kite Man and gets taken for a bird's eye view of Gotham. Usually Batman is Kevin Conroy in my mind, but this issue is pure Adam West. 4 pages in and Kite Man has nearly killed Robin. He only survives by pure luck by landing in a water tower, but Kite Man's high-flying felonies don't stop there. Robberies, prison escapes. Kite Man quickly ascends to the height of villainy, where he busts out gangster Big Bill Collins. Batman and Robin are on the case, and they're using Kite Man's own tricks against him. But the Dark Knight is overpowered by Collins and his goons, thanks to Kite Man's secret weapon, a kite. He chucks it at Batman, which distracts him long enough to get a good clobbering, and the criminal trio bring the Bat home to take their revenge at their own pace. But the Kite Man's plot rips like paper, wallpaper. Batman uses the tatty wallpaper to make a bat kite of his own, signalling the boy wonder to his position. Kite Man's life of crime is gone with the wind when the dynamic duo use his own super kites against him. And finally, the Kite Man comes crashing down. This man had the Batman dead to rights using nothing but kites. How were the writers back then so amazingly creative? They made a man who uses kites threatening. He nearly killed Robin straight away. How did he come up with this stuff? I genuinely want to know. Great issue. Could have been adapted panel by panel for Batman 66. Would have been a boss episode. I got the sense that Kite Man did this for fun rather than money. He doesn't even wear a mask or a real costume, he's just loving the adrenaline and took it too far. My evidence for this is he doesn't dress for crime, he dresses for skydiving. This was a good start. Who've we got next? Mate, I don't know why, but I've been waiting for this one. Look at that design. The creativity of the good old days astounds me. Batman is gonna eat lead when he comes face to face with the Eraser. An advert of a lady in lingerie reminds Bruce of his college days. Well, the big rubber next to her did anyway. reminding him specifically of classmate Leonard Fiasco. Do not laugh. What a name. Lenny was always making mistakes, to the point where he was seldom seen without an eraser in his hand. So much so, poor Lenny flunked out. I wonder what he's up to nowadays. Alfred, mate, you might want to rethink asbestos gloves. The bat phones are buzzing, so millionaire Bruce Wayne and his ward Dick Grayson suit up into the dynamic duo Batman and Robin. Summoned urgently to Riverside Bank, the chief tells Batman that his men have combed every inch of this now empty vault and couldn't find a crumb of a clue, as though someone has erased the crime scene. Even the world's greatest detective is stumped. The bank crime might have been flawless, but this one here isn't. Playtime's over for this toy company heist when Batman and Robin show off their karate chop action. One of the thugs curses his teammates for not listening because he suggested they hire the Eraser for this job. It's always one mug who spoils it for everyone else, isn't it? Who's the Eraser? Batman and Robin literally find an advert from the villain in a goon's pocket. The Eraser, mate, he wipes away all clues of your crime. And he offers his services for only 20% of the take. What a steal, because Killer Moth wanted 80. As ever, Batman and Robin are master strategists, and they use a disguise to hire the Eraser for a staged crime to draw him out. It's like they've hired a clown for a birthday party. They literally ring up and say, I'd like to hire the Eraser. It's not like ordering a bouncy castle, mate. Oh, and Bruce Wayne has used the same aftershave since he was in college. What a weird bit of trivia to drop so late in the story. Robin waits in the wings as the undercover Bruce robs his own safe. And finally, our villain, the Eraser, appears. Look at that suit, how does he breathe in that helmet? Lenny Fiasco, the man Bruce just so happened to mention for the first time ever at the start of the story, was secretly the villain. And Lenny's done making mistakes, as he immediately recognises Bruce Wayne thanks to his aftershave. Fans of the channel will note this is the second time we've seen a disguised Bruce get made. Scarecrow spotted him too, if we recall. And in year one, Catwoman assumes he's an undercover policeman straight away. God, Batman's crap at disguises. Lenny's goons capture Wayne and put him on ice, literally by trapping him in a coffin of ice. But Batman doesn't make mistakes either. Bruce escapes by heating the inside of the ice with exercise and shatters his own chains, letting him put on his cowl as Robin distracts the Eraser. But is the pencil mightier than the sword? Eraser thinks so because he puts up a fight, but to experienced brawlers like Batman and Robin, Eraser might as well be stationary. Batman cracks the pencil case wide open. Lenny goes to jail for his crimes, but Batman still has hope for his fallen friend because he gifts a huge rubber, hoping Len will use it to clean up his mistakes. I quite like the idea of a villain who other villains can hire to make their own jobs easier, like Killer Moth or the Tinkerer. Other bad guys come to Eraser to make their own crimes go smoother, and that's just a boss idea all round. There's no honour among thieves, but that doesn't mean there can't be a bit of teamwork. This is why I think Eraser's only true mistake was getting physical with Batman. He should have ducked out the moment it got violent and stayed in the shadows. This pencil was getting that paper, doing his thing behind the scenes. Also, mate, maybe don't hand out physical evidence you're a criminal for hire. This is like recording your burgle in someone's house. Then again, Lenny Fiasco is known for making stupid mistakes. The ice theme at the end was a bit weird. They say it's because the girl Lenny fancied went to the winter carnival with Bruce when they were in college, but it didn't really fit the theme or do anything relevant in the modern day. Should have trapped him in a big pencil case. And why was Robin always breaking the fourth wall this story? It felt like Jim Halpert replaced Burt Ward or something. But overall, great villain concept. Who've we got next? What makes the Batman stand out is his usually low level of fantasy in his stories. He's a trained ninja in a costume who normally uses gadgets and cleverness to fight other low-powered threats, like clown gangsters or mad chemists. Batman himself is just a man. And that's what makes Batman facing high-powered foes like Poison Ivy or Clayface so enjoyable. Seeing this normal dude fight a monster far out of his league. For the final villain today, we've got such a bad guy for Bruce to sort out. In Detective Comics issues 469 and 470, Doctor Phosphorus. Alfred, I warned you about those asbestos gloves, mate. The Batman's butler is struck down by a sudden mysterious illness, and Alfred isn't the only one. After Bruce takes Alfred to hospital, Batman is summoned to solve the mystery. 50 Gothamites in the last hour have all been suffering Alfred's symptoms, but no one knows the cause. Is this a mistake here? Sweeps through the body like wildlife. Does he mean wildfire? And this guy's a doctor. The case of the mystery illnesses solves itself when the perpetrator sends a threat to Commissioner Gordon. The good citizens of Gotham City seem to have earned the wrath of a new psycho on the scene, calling himself Doctor Phosphorus. Batman has a cool detective scene here where he tries to figure out how Alfred could have contracted this disease, while Bruce, who's been in all the same places as Alfred, somehow didn't. Ending in Bruce realising it must have been in the tap water. In 2 hours, morning breaks, and the rest of Gotham will wake up and fall victim to Phosphorus's revenge. Batman tries to warn Gordon, but it's already too late for Jim. The sun rises on a Gotham on high alert. The water gets shut off and Jim is taken to hospital as Batman travels to the Gotham Reservoir. Batman finds more than evidence of tampering. He finds the villain responsible, the bone and bone body of Doctor Phosphorus. This bit reminds me of that X-Files Simpson episode. Doc Phos rambles on about having a bone to pick with Gotham, but he gives no explicit details for what Gotham actually did to deserve his wrath. Phosphorus's body burns to the touch, so Batman's gonna have to put this freak away quick. How cool is Batman? He doesn't even care that he's facing a burning skeleton. He's ready to rumble straight away. But the Doc makes Batman look like a numbskull when he tanks all the Dark Knight's blows. In fact, the hero's powers and socks seem to hurt Batman more than Phosphorus. And when the Doc tackles Batman into the reservoir waters, someone's in deep trouble. And it's that idiot Dr. Phosphorus. What a moron! He said himself in his threat to Gordon that phosphorus burns in air. Guess what there's not much of underwater? Without that burning touch, Batman easily overpowers the crazy cadaver. But unfortunately for Gotham, the Doc escapes. Idiot forgot how his own powers work, mate, and he's supposed to be a doctor. Batman is rightfully pissed off. This guy's a danger to every man, woman and child in Gotham while he's at large, so the Dark Knight would risk anything to bring him down. Dr. Phosphorus is on the loose, but Batman can't do much without any new leads. Luckily, in the meantime, he's got plenty of other criminals to take down. Only while he's apprehending this fella, the Batman himself is hit with a court order. When Batman asks Gordon what it's all about, Jim assumes it's from Rupert Thorne, city chairman and secret mob boss. But then we find out it was sent by Jim and Alfred's current caregiver, Dr. Bell. This absolute cretin of a doctor who wants vigilantism shut down in Gotham for good. This is always stupid to me. Who's gonna fight Killer Croc if you don't have vigilantes, mate? Now Batman's got 2 doctors to fight. If only he'd eaten his daily apple. Dr. Phosphorus continues his revenge, poisoning a concert hall full of people. This one strike puts him high on the list for big body counts, doesn't it? He's vicious, but he's efficient. Meanwhile, at the Bat Cave, Batman discovers Phosphorus does more than just burn you. The Doc's Batman handling has left trace amounts of radioactivity on Bruce. Finally, a lead. Batman begins to hunt all sources of radioactivity in Gotham to find Phosphorus. But all he finds at Rupert Thorne's nuclear power plant is trouble when the previously mentioned court order blocks Bat's access. Batman is turned away at the door. But like that's gonna stop the bloody Batman, he sneaks his way into the plant, ready to put an end to the threat of Phosphorus. I'm so used to Batman being silent and doing stealth takedowns that it's weird seeing him call the villain out before we can even see him, but this bit's cool as hell. Batman's here to kick some ass, and he wants Doctor Phosphorus to know he's screwed now. Doctor Phosphorus won't go down easy, but like all the memes say, Batman has had prep time. The bat suit he's wearing's been treated to resist radioactivity, so Phosphorus's touch barely tickles the Dark Knight now. Their fight leads to a dramatic finish above the reactor, where Phosphorus knocks Batman off, but the Doc's own power is his undoing, when his melting touch destroys his own handholds. Dr. Phosphorus plummets to his presumed death into the reactor core, as Batman barely saves himself with his bat rope batarang. The threat of Dr. Phosphorus comes to a bone-chilling end. You know what, mate, honestly, Batman's obviously fought paranormal threats before, like Solomon Grundy and Poison Ivy. But what I liked about Doc Phosphorus was how he blends in with Batman's more street-level enemies, like Joker and that. Yeah, he's got powers, but it's not over-the-top outrageous. He's a radioactive lunatic, but it's within reason that Batman could take him down. A sick design, of course. Spooky villains are always welcome here. I ran out of puns quite quickly after I'd already said bone to pick, but I can't blame him for that, that was on me. The plan to use his new powers to poison Gotham for revenge is nice and simple, even to the point where all he really had to do was have a bath in their drinking water, and he nearly killed loads. That being said, I do wish he had a better goal than just murder everyone. Just wanting everyone dead makes him less of an actual character and more of a thing for the hero to stop. I like villains with master plans. Maybe if he was like trying to infect others so he's not the only freak, or if he was holding the city ransom for money to find a cure for himself. As I said, the fun thing about Batman is that he's a normal dude, so it's reasonable any of these guys could be a true threat to him. The dude who used kites nearly killed him. That's boss. My favourite here was Eraser, just because he's such a fun concept. I genuinely think he should be a regular thing in the Gotham underworld. He's blocking Batman at the source by making sure no clues are left behind. No matter how great a detective Batman is, if there's no clues, there's no leads. He certainly should be a bigger name in Gotham, certainly. Who was your favourite villain in today's lineup, and what stories would you tell with them if you were given the chance? What other villains should I look into? I've already got lined up Zebra Man and the Monarch of Madness. And I'll see you next time, same bat YouTube channel.